Hey everybody, welcome to another great episode of Content Conversation. Today I'm excited to be welcoming Benji Hyam of Grow and Convert, another amazing content marketing agency here in San Diego and around the world, definitely remote focused. And today we're excited to be talking about content promotion. Welcome, Benji.
Thank you. Excited to be here. I feel very cool.
Yes, you are very cool.
Thank you.
We're definitely pumped to have you here, and obviously I'm excited to pick your brain as a fellow content marketing fan, I guess. I don't know, That's probably not the right word, but as someone who's in the game as well, running an agency in the content marketing world, definitely interested to just hear your origin story, how Grow and Convert came to be, and what got you to this crazy world that we're in.
Yeah. So I was running marketing at a startup in San Francisco, and I got invited to this marketing dinner. And one of the first people that showed up was my now co-founder, Davish. He was running a CRO agency at the time. Actually, he still is. But we got into this heated discussion before the dinner started about whether content marketing worked to drive high-value leads for his agency. And he was just saying that he was producing content. He wasn't getting any traffic. No leads were coming from it. He had been doing it for 6 months, and he's just like, he's like, content marketing definitely doesn't work. To attract, I think he's trying to get in front of a VP of e-commerce at a $5 million plus e-commerce company. And so I just told him he was wrong because I had just come from a company where I had grown their whole business off of content marketing. And we were trying to get in front of VPs and C-levels at growing startups.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we just had this heated discussion all dinner. And I really respected his wisdom that he brought to the table, which was he was really, he had done some work for people like Brian Dean on conversion optimization, and I was more on the growth side of things. And after the dinner ended, I just kept in contact with him, and I said, I kind of want to start a blog. I was thinking about leaving the company that I was working at. Mm-hmm. Actually, I was thinking about writing a book on content marketing at that point. And I told Davish, and he's just like, that's the worst idea ever. What are you gonna do? You're gonna write a book.
This is all at the dinner?
This is actually at the dinner. I told him I was thinking about going to Bali, writing a book.
It's a deep conversation.
Yeah, writing a book on content marketing. And he's just like, that's the dumbest idea ever. What are you gonna do? Write a book, sell it for $10 and make $100? He's like, if you really know what you're doing so well, why don't you just start a blog and show people that you can grow it? And I said, that's actually a really great idea. Why don't you do it with me? And he's like, there's no way I'm gonna do that. I already have one business. I don't want another business. And so over the course of a couple weeks, I convinced him to do the blog with me. Mm-hmm. And then I actually did quit my job and I moved to Bali 2 months later, and Davish freaked out because we didn't have any income at that time and we didn't even have a business. We just had a blog with, I think, like 4,000 visitors on it. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of like the founding story. And
it just worked out. You just got leads very quickly?
No, so
you're living in Bali, so maybe cheap to live there? I don't know.
That's why I did it. So I moved to Bali because it was super cheap to live there. Mm-hmm. I could start my business and live with next to nothing.
If I remember correctly, you had a little run rate or something like.
Yeah, I left with about $10,000. We didn't have any income for the first 5 minutes, or for the first 5 months of the business. And we didn't even know what the business model was at that point. It was just a blog, but the idea was if we could grow a blog, and at this point in time, we were doing it publicly. Mm-hmm. So we had a public challenge to grow it to 40,000 visitors in 6 months. And the idea was if we can grow this audience of content marketers, eventually we can monetize it. And that took a long time to figure out, actually. So the first 18 months of the business, we didn't have a recurring revenue stream. We pivoted 4 times. We started with a phone course, and then we did workshops in person, and then we did an online course, and then we finally stumbled into the agency. And then after we started the agency, it grew pretty quickly after that.
Wow, that's impressive. I always say with Siege, I was like the wussiest founder of all time, in that I had a full-time job and was getting leads on the side. I already had leads when I quit my job, so I had income, so I was kind of lucky in that regard. So props to you for taking that dive, and it sounds like it's going well. Obviously you've got a lot of good thoughts on content promotion in general, and as the topic of this conversation, you recently wrote a post on the 3 main content promotion tips or tactics you're using today, or and correct me if I'm wrong, but just curious what those are and what in 2019 are you using?
Yeah, so historically, our site and just the way we did content was mainly focused around community content promotion, which is if you figure out where your target audience hangs out online, you can share the content in those places. It's a really manual process, so I would have to join these communities, engage and interact with them, answer people's questions, contribute a ton of content to them, and then when we had something we actually wanted to share from our own site, share the content in those places. And so when I was saying in the founding story, we tried to grow the site to 40,000 visitors in 6 months, it was solely off community content promotion. There was no SEO traffic. We started from a blank WordPress site, and we grew it to 24,000 a month just off community content promotion. The challenge,
that's like growth hackers and inbound.
yeah,
and
but
like
even
that.
back then there was a lot of stuff. I mean, Reddit, we're talking Facebook, getting in newsletters, growth hackers and inbound back then for sure. But the challenge is every single month you start from zero again. So unlike organic traffic, it grows over time and it grows exponentially. Every single month, you're pretty much starting from zero.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge with it, and so that's kind of why we've started to pivot into doing other stuff as well. So right now we currently do community content promotion. We do Facebook advertising. There's 3 things that we do there. We do interest-based cold audiences. So we share our we share the content that we produce through cold audiences, targeting our customers' target audience. Then we do lookalike audiences. So we might look at a pricing page or a sign-up page and then create a lookalike audience based off of the people that are going there.
Okay.
And then basically share new content to lookalikes of people that have previously purchased or people that have just gone to their site in general.
Okay.
And then we do straight retargeting as well through Facebook. And then recently, as of December, we started doing link building as well.
It's exciting.
It's really exciting.
Obviously, we do a lot of link building, so that's why I say that.
Yeah, and I've always been somewhat hesitant to do link
Yeah,
building, mainly because
so you get the sticky traffic.
yeah,
at least in my
it is.
opinion. Unless you're a massive brand and you have the authority to start.
Exactly.
It is so. I guess for context for people that are listening to this or watching this, your background. Tell everyone where you came, what kind of company you came from, and like your typical client. I think that would be good context for people.
Yeah, before this, I ran marketing at a SaaS company, and then before that in San Francisco, I ran marketing for a software development company.
Okay.
The software development company, I was the first marketing hire and the 4th employee, and pretty much had to grow everything from scratch. So started from zero, and learning these content promotion techniques just pretty much came from me having to figure it out on my own and just test different stuff. And then before that, I worked at a company called Vistage International here in San Diego. They do CEO coaching. I think they have 20,000 CEOs that are part of their network. And then the clients that we work for now are mainly on the B2B side. We're pretty picky with who we work with. We're a boutique agency, not really trying to grow massive clients. I think we have 6 or 7 clients right now. And we've worked with companies like Patreon's probably the biggest company that's most well known that we've worked with. And then we have a couple different SaaS companies. We have an agency that we do their content marketing for as well. And then content marketing is how we drive all of our leads. So we don't do we don't do any ads. We don't do any outbound. We really don't do anything except write content on our own site. And we've gotten leads from companies like Microsoft and Goldman Sachs and a lot of different types of companies like that.
Nice. So when you talk about the Facebook retargeting and the community, I'm probably jumping ahead a little bit, so maybe I can take a step back. The community specifically, I know you've touched on that in some ways. I read one of your posts that said you're thinking about not doing that as much, but like how, for anyone who's coming into that cold, you mentioned you are starting from scratch there. Would you recommend even doing that? How would you train people to like do community distribution, if at all? You say avoid that? It sounds like you're still doing it.
Yeah, we're still doing it. I would say since we started in 2016 with our site, it's gotten a lot harder. Possibly because we wrote a post telling people how to do this, and then everyone kind of caught on and started doing it. Partially because I think a lot of the content that's being shared just isn't really that good. And so it dilutes a lot of these communities with just bad content, which makes it harder for the good content to shine through. And yeah, I think there's been changes to Facebook recently. So historically, we would join groups, and even the algorithms in the groups have started to change. The moderation settings have changed. LinkedIn, we used to do a lot of group stuff too. Those have been pretty much non-existent now. So a lot of people sharing stuff in there, but there's no engagement. So the communities that you use consistently change because there's always just changes to the platform. Again, like Inbound was a big community that we were a part of, and then there were tons of management changes on the Inbound side, which changed the way the platform
I think it's
worked.
dead now, right?
And now, and now it doesn't exist anymore. So that's what I mean. It's always changing, and so it is somewhat challenging for people to do because you kind of have to keep always testing different stuff in different communities, different ways of posting and engaging with people. So it is a very manual process. And I mean, Davish in the beginning said, I don't even know if we can do this as part of the agency because I feel like you're the only person that can do this.
So you can't really train it well.
I mean,
that's kind of been I think I randomly bring it up at times, like, let's do community outreach. And then how can we scale
that's the thing. I don't think it's that scalable. It really requires someone who just really cares about doing this and testing new things and almost having this as like their full-time job. For example, I spend a lot of time just scanning feeds and seeing what questions people ask and responding to those. And so if your only goal is to share content in those places and you don't have the mindset of contributing outside of just sharing stuff, then it's going to be very difficult. I would say for a new site, that was one question that you asked, I think it is really important to get off the ground. If you're starting from scratch and you're solely trying to grow through organic search, I mean, the time to start getting results is pretty lengthy. And so I would say I would definitely recommend it for smaller sites who are just starting out. Again, we grew our whole site just this way. And also from sharing our content in these communities, we naturally built backlinks. And so our site grew to, I think, a pretty large authority just from doing this content promotions process rather than trying to just go after keywords.
Are there any tools you use to source these communities or find them that people use?
No, it's just all manual research, really. So I would go on Facebook, I search for keywords around the audience that we're trying to get in front of. So for our own agency, it would be content marketing groups, SaaS groups, startup groups, marketing groups, stuff like that, growth hacking, all those types of groups, and we would join those. And yeah, it is a really manual process. So I think that's the challenge is a lot of people immediately try to think, how do I scale this? And how do I hire a team of people to do this?
So maybe it's perfect for a highly effective boutique.
Yeah, my advice would be you don't. It's not a scalable thing, but it is something that works and it takes a lot of effort. But it's a very manual process, and you can't just go hire VAs to do this because even the nuance in the language that you use and the comments and the way that you talk about these things is really important. So for example, I can't go in an engineering group and pretend that I know what I'm talking about if I'm not an engineer. So some of the ways around that would be if we were working with a client, we might have someone inside of their company go share this that's already a part of these communities. That way they're already a part of these groups and they have the title to back up whatever they are, and it's not just some marketer trying to infiltrate all these different communities.
Okay. Well, one thing maybe it's related to communities, I think you tweeted about it at some point, was like there's certain activities that are kind of hard for an agency to do well for clients. I don't know if you remember that exactly, or maybe I'm referencing something else, but it sounds similar to that. Like I think about even what we do for ourselves is like build relationships with other influencers, engage with them, and submit to communities like SparkToro now, which is sort of the
That's
new
a great
inbound.
community.
Growth Hackers feels like it's going down, but occasionally submit to stuff like that. that makes sense to like nurture, and it's just hard for an agency who's getting held to very specific KPIs each month to say, hey, I replied to this guy 2 times and pay me. I would think anyways, but curious what.
Yeah, I mean, our engagement, we don't do promotion a la carte. So the way that we, I guess, sell our services is it's all results based. So we don't sell pieces of content. I don't know if you do either.
We do. It's,
okay.
Sometimes we'll do a retainer, sometimes we'll do by asset with an expectation of results.
Okay.
Functionally, like we're not just going to say you get this. It's with an expectation range, not guaranteed, but a range.
Yeah. So the way that we sell our services is it's 3 articles a month, and so that doesn't sound like a lot for people who want our services. Like, I think a lot of people get caught up on, I need 20 articles a month to get the results. But the way that we sell it is we have a much more targeted approach. So every piece of content serves a really specific purpose. And what we sell is traffic and leads, not just the deliverables.
Okay.
So that lends itself to us being able to just do what we need to on the promotion side to get the results we need. And I think what I was referencing in what you're talking about, the agency thing, is I think what's challenging for an agency versus maybe someone in-house is we have to have such a targeted approach in the way that we do content marketing. Like a company could produce 20 articles and in-house and they'd be fine with that. And as an agency, we're producing 3 articles and almost every single one of them has to hit something. So it has to get traffic, it has to get leads. And it's much more challenging, I think, for an agency hired by a company who's expected to get results. We have to have such a targeted approach to the way that we do things. But I think that targeted approach and that obsession over the results and tracking has led to, I think, innovations and new ways of doing things and new ways of us looking at data and coming up with new ideas on how we should do content marketing. So yeah, I would say content marketing agencies, it's not an easy business at all, as I'm sure you know. But I think that challenge is kind of what drives us. It makes us always question, how do we do things better? It's the reason why we've gone from just one promotion technique to 3 different things, because once something stops working, we're forced to figure something else out and iterate and try new stuff. So yeah, there's challenges to having this type of agency, but I also think it's rewarding at the same time, and it's humbling as well. I think I thought I knew a lot. I thought I knew a lot about content marketing before I started this agency, and now having worked with like 15 different clients in all different industries and all different business types, I realized I definitely didn't know as much as I thought I knew in the beginning. But I think now I've learned so much. Just I feel like I have a pretty good idea when we start with a new client, like exactly step 1, 2, and 3, what we need to do to start getting results. And I think it's just because, yeah, you have to have that targeted approach and mindset right from the beginning. You can't produce 20 articles and then
not have everything.
Not have results or traffic come from it. Otherwise, you're going to get fired as an agency.
Yeah. I mean, what we say, and I try and communicate in the sales process, is we might do 3 assets, as you mentioned 3, and actually I always say 3. One might do great, one do okay, one might be a dud.
Yep.
So we kind of set that expectation, and also lagging indicators, leading indicators, or leading indicators or links, or lagging indicators or traffic from a search perspective. And yeah, you have to get buy-in. And when they start saying things like, how quickly will you see results? Will it be 3 months? I want to rank for blank. It's kind of a red flag that maybe I should shut down that conversation, or
yes,
our team is going to hate me, which at times they do. So that happens when we set up expectations incorrectly. So one thing that kind of ties to your process around Facebook and advertising there is your article and your thought process on pain point SEO. Maybe you could describe that, and correct me if I'm wrong if it does tie into Facebook, or how you use that in your content marketing strategy.
Yeah, I think I'll take a step back actually before I get to the pain point SEO. So even the way that we think about driving traffic, it changes depending on the client and what situation they're in. So you're saying like, if a new client's starting out, what do you do? So if a new client was starting that had a new site, we don't typically work with clients like this that have a new site, but if hypothetically, if someone was just starting from scratch, I would probably focus half and half on producing content that I know is more shareable in nature than is going after keywords, mainly because those articles are going to do better in communities. A lot of the content that's going after keywords usually isn't shareable enough or interesting enough to be shared in these communities, and so even the types of content that you produce change. If you're a larger site and you already have a pretty good authority, then we might go solely SEO and solely pain point SEO. And what pain point SEO is, we have a 4-step process to just the work that we do in our agency. It's user research. So we fly out to a company, we sit down with them for a half-day session with their sales team, their marketing team, their CEO, whoever is really customer facing. And we do a customer research session. Usually it's the only time you get all those stakeholders in the room really hashing out who their best customers
How hard
are.
is that to sell, out of curiosity?
That's actually easy to sell.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
It's to fly out to a client one day, I guess.
Yeah, it's part, there's no additional charge. It's part of our engagement. We do this because it's really important for us to understand who the customer is. So what are the titles of the people that we're going after in the B2B setting? And then what are their pain points and challenges and interests and things that keep them up at night? And so like, what are the questions that people are asking on sales calls when they call in? What are the problems that they're trying to solve? So getting this information from the people who talk to the customers directly, this is our way as an agency of getting a brain dump of the information. If I was working in-house, this would probably be a lot different because I would just go to the customer and talk to them, either in person or through interviews. But as an agency, this is our way to get all the information needed to be able to do our job as well. So step 1 is user research. And only after we truly understand who the best customers are and what their challenges are, can we even produce the content. And then pain point SEO ties into that content as what we do is instead of going after high volume keywords in an industry, so for example, even for our own agency, we're not trying to own content marketing. It's really challenging to go after. Yes, it might be high traffic, but even if you think about the intent of the buyer or someone searching for that, they're probably in the research phase and they're probably they're probably beginners. So it's not a good fit for us. So if we really think about the pain points that more advanced content marketers would have, I don't know what topics to create for my blog. I'm producing a lot of content, but I'm not driving traffic. Or I have a ton of traffic on my website, but none of it converts and I don't know why. These are more of the pain points that we get on sales calls and that people come to us asking. And so that's the kind of content that we write, is directly solving our customers' problems, and through that we're able to build trust with our own audience.
Okay.
And it's the same for any client. So instead of going after content marketing, we would search for maybe lower volume keywords that we know have very high intent for the product or service. I would say it's a lot easier on the SaaS side of things than it is on the service side of things. It's a little bit more nuanced on the service side of things. But yeah, that's our general approach, is like, what tool would someone be searching for if they were trying to find a tool like this? Or what questions would they be asking? So even if you think about discovering a SaaS tool, someone might be searching for the best tools in X category, or they might be comparing a few different software products against each other. And so if we know all the challenges and questions and pain points that our customers have up front, on the keyword side, we're searching for keywords that are directly going after these pain points and questions and then just answering them. And that works really well for Google as well. And we found that by doing this, the blog posts that we create that go after these pain points and questions have a much higher conversion rate than just the higher volume keywords, because of where these people are at in the buying process. Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. It sounds somewhat similar to us. We slightly different. Where if for we won't take new clients on with a brand new site either. Occasionally, it might be a startup that's funded or what have you, who's a decent site, but maybe not authority. So in that situation, we might create content that is highly linkable versus community distribution, which is a similar idea. And we also do some alignment of low difficulty. We call it keyword opposition and benefit analysis, where you start with low difficulty stuff and ladder up. But I like the thought process of going in that middle funnel area with your work. And I'm guessing with a lot of that, that's where you're applying that Facebook audience. Like, are you applying link building? How are you? I'm guessing that doesn't tie into the pain point because that's
So the promotion it's kind of just, we have all these different tactics in our tool belt. So we have Facebook promotion. So as an agency, if we're not like a pure SEO agency, and I think the challenge is being a pure SEO agency is that you have to convince clients that it's going to take a long time to start seeing results. And so the reason we do the community promotion of Facebook is that so we can start driving traffic in month 1 and month 2, so the client can start seeing immediate results from the second they start working with us. And then the pain point SEO stuff is a longer term game. So we're promoting our newer content. We might even create case studies or something that's a little bit more shareable, distribute those through either communities or through Facebook, and then simultaneously produce the SEO content that's going to take time to build up.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. One suggestion I might have is, and we definitely have the benefit that we just built this SEO audience over time, is a lot of our customers are that in-house SEO, so they have the buy-in for the long term.
For sure.
So thankfully we do have that. There's always a client or two that's a little more in a rush,
yes.
I'd say. So that's occasionally painful, but that does kind of help.
Yeah, I think this comes, and the reason we started doing link building is because we tried to just do community stuff for a while, and at some point you just cap out. There's just no more growth that can be had, and really the long-term growth does come from SEO. And so the service that we've now created combines both of these things. We can drive the shorter-term traffic in month 1 or month 2, but really all the long-term growth and the leads and everything is really going to come from organic.
Okay. Curious what your reports look like. What are the main KPIs you're reporting on for your clients?
So we set up goals in GA. So whatever their main conversion goal is, if it's a lead form or if it's a new trial sign up, and we're reporting on new trial sign up growth or lead growth directly from our content. So how we're doing that, we're using the model comparison tool in GA, and then you can look at the conversion goal that you want to measure, and then we can see every single article that's driving conversions. We're using first touch and last touch attribution. Most in content marketing, most of it's going to come from first touch, because if you think about discovery, especially on the SEO side, someone's going to search for something, come across your blog post, probably read it, not be ready to convert in that same session, bounce, do some more research, come across an ad or some other channel, and then come back. And so from our perspective, the first click is really valuable because it's the first level of awareness someone has of the brand, and then they can convert somewhere else. So we're measuring that conversion growth over time, and then also traffic growth as well, and those two things. And for traffic, we set up Google Data Studio for every client, so they have a live dashboard of their traffic. The first screen is just overall traffic growth from our articles only, so we use a regex expression to just every single article that we've produced gets put in the regex, and then it's measured every single month, and it's just the overall traffic growth. And then the second screen is organic traffic growth, and then the last screen is just this month alone.
Okay, nice. I'm curious. Random side thought I had while you were saying that.
Yeah.
Your co-founder, how do you work operationally? You said he's so I mean, I guess it works nicely with your approach. He's conversion focused. You're more of the marketing mind.
Yeah.
Is that kind of the split, or how do you guys work operationally?
Yeah, that is. He's really good on operations. He's good on analytics. He's our salesperson. He just is amazing on sales calls. And I'm really focused on the content strategy, so I'm still very involved in doing all the keyword research and ideation, working with our team on that kind of stuff. I am the only person doing promotion right now. We did have a team of promotion people over the last couple of years, but
Hard to train.
it is hard to train. So yeah, we had a promotion person up until December. I retook that over because just everything was starting to fall apart on the promotion side, and kind of had to rethink how to do it. And so now I'm the only person doing promotion. We have a Facebook ads person that we work with that runs all of our ads for our clients. And yeah, and Davis handles a lot of our finance stuff and hiring and all that kind of stuff. It's actually a perfect mix. I had a co-founder previously at another agency, and we had very similar skill sets, and it just didn't work well. I mean, you just couldn't divide and conquer. And here,
It's a nice marriage.
that argument at the beginning was just kind of telling for the business relationship down the road. We do challenge each other and push each other, and I think it's good. We have very different ways of thinking about things, and that back and forth, I think, helps us challenge each other and do a better job.
Nice. Another side thought that I had from previous question I asked you. Communities, are you doing anything with Slack? Have you?
I mean, we have Slack for our own company, but
So I randomly just fall into some communities. I don't know if it's like easy to. Maybe there should be a service for like, but I guess they're private by nature.
yeah,
so,
they're private.
But
I'm
there's
a part of
distro,
I'm a part of
yeah.
8 different Slack
Okay,
groups
yeah.
at this point.
And that's probably one of those things where you got to be in the weeds to really like get exposed to. Oh, there's a Slack group. There's this Facebook group.
Yeah, you have. I mean, you have to know about them because a lot of them are private, smaller groups, and I think I can't even keep up with our own company Slack groups. So it's just tough for me to go into different Slack groups and really try to participate. So I'm a part of a lot of them. I'm say pretty active in maybe 2 or 3.
Okay, but not actual any marketing.
No, just more networking.
Okay.
And I think
I've seen a few that are like share my thing, and of course, because everyone does it automatically, no one gets any traffic from it because it's not a good share.
Yeah, I think the Slack groups for me are more networking. I do think good opportunities have come if you share articles in those places, or people are up to date on what they're doing. Those people have newsletters and stuff like that, and so it helps get in places like that. But I think the Slack groups are more just for building those personal relationships and getting in contact with people. So that whole marketing dinner that started our business was because Sujin was in my Slack group and we were just communicating over there. So when he was in San Francisco, we ended up meeting in person. I'd say more of the Slack groups I'm in are more
networking.
It's more networking. So in a couple of weeks, we're gonna have a bunch of people in San Diego. And that's mostly just people that I've communicated with for a long time in Slack groups.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those examples of in-house advantages, quote unquote, that you have. Is like you get networking benefit that can in turn create distribution benefits that unfortunately are probably pretty hard for an agency to do at times.
Yep.
But there's always cost benefits there. I know you work as a remote team. We're continually building our remote side of our business. So curious if you have any like tips or how you guys work from a remote perspective that works for you or for anyone else that might be doing it also.
Yeah, it's been a humbling learning experience, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, you can say it sucks.
No, I mean, there's definitely pluses and minuses.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people say that they get lonely. I personally don't get lonely, just because we do have.
Are you an introvert?
No, I'm an extrovert.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's just because we're communicating with people in Slack all day. My roommate works from the house too, and he's also in marketing. So, we talk about marketing stuff all the time. So I have someone there. I think the biggest the biggest learnings for us have been hiring people who've been freelancers before, so who have already been freelance, because I think they're already used to the lifestyle. That's been a really good learning experience for us. I think the biggest one overall, though, has just been the training aspect. So we thought historically that we could just hire freelancers who are already good at what they do and just like let them run, and they were just gonna magically get it, and that didn't work out too well. So we've been really focused on training programs now, and it is kind of difficult because I mean, if you're in-house or you're in an office like this, I mean, you can walk over to a person, spend a lot of time with them. And so for us, we've had to develop like training programs through video or through Google Docs where it's just everything's written out, step-by-step process, and hopping on video calls with these people and just making sure to make an effort and just be conscious that these people need help and they might not always ask for it. So as a founder, we need to be proactive in terms of reaching out to these people, just making sure they understand everything that's going on. And I think that's probably been the biggest shift in our business over the last 3 months, is just really focusing on the training aspect of things. And yeah, I think that is for sure a challenge. On the hiring side, though, I think there is an advantage because
bigger pool,
yeah,
maybe? I don't know.
no, it's because so many people want to work remote now. So the remote culture it's starting to become more mainstream, I would say. And people who've worked at large companies for a long time are starting to value remote work more than they are pay, because they have flexibility. They don't have to commute, especially people that have families. They want to spend more time at home. And so people are willing to they want to be paid less to have more autonomy and be able to work from wherever they want. And so I think it's opened the talent pool up a lot for us. We've been able to, like, some of the people on our team that we work with are just amazing. And I'm just amazed that we get to work with these people who could be working at Facebook's or those kind of companies, but they truly just value freelancing and remote work more than working at some of these top companies.
One of the things I think about with that, and I guess it's maybe specific to our situation, is the idea that there is like intersection of maybe more entry level people who have just graduated from college or what have you. They're also, I don't know if that group where maybe value social relationships or being in the workplace, and maybe they don't value being at home and with their family as much. Like, is remote as attractive to them full time? I'm trying to imagine like a 21-year-old right out of college is working from their house. That doesn't seem like
yeah. I mean I would say
hopefully I'm wrong.
No. I would say
that's what we're thinking about. Yeah.
On the younger end, if you haven't really had work experience before, I think the remote thing is going to be very difficult. Like, even for me, I went to a really large company right out of school. I think they had 400 employees, offices all over, and yeah, worked at a big company, learned the company politics stuff, and then went on my own, and then worked at 2 different companies, and then I decided to go out on my own. And I think if you were just starting out in your career,
Doing that.
Yeah, I mean, you're not getting the training early on. Like, again, the value of sitting with someone and being around other people and learning how to work in an office environment. I think so much of those skills come
Soft
from
skills almost,
yeah, the soft skills come from being in that environment when you're younger. And then for me personally, and then it was like going to run marketing on my own. That was another challenge, and not having a team around me. And so I think that was kind of the precursor for me being able to be independent and be out on my own, was kind of being thrown in that environment, but I was still inside of a company. And so yeah, I would say I think it's better for people who are older, who have skills already that they've kind of mastered, like one thing, like specialists, and then go out on their own, and then probably try freelancing first and
see if it works for them.
But the challenge with freelancing is people are usually really good at one thing. They're really good writers, or they're really good salespeople, or they're really good marketers, and they're not good at like building their own business and getting leads. And so for us, that's a perfect opportunity for us to work with those kind of people, because they're specialists and they're great at what they do, but they go out on their own and they realize they don't want to do the whole business side of things, and they'd rather just work for someone. And then a company like ours makes sense for those people.
Nice. Yeah, we are on the training side are trying to do a week in-house. So we hire someone remote, fly them in,
That's smart.
A week in-house of training, which hopefully bridges that gap slightly. We'll see if it's enough. And also, more realistically, I think we're leaning towards senior content marketing specialists, as you said, and people with some experience. I don't know if maybe the waves will turn eventually, where remote will be so prolific that maybe even junior people will be
or like a
traveling.
hybrid
Yeah.
model where people go into an office 2 days a week. And,
That's what we
and-
do, actually.
Yeah, and
So,
they're local to
yeah.
the city that the office is in, but they don't
Real
have to go
estate's
in every day.
expensive is the
Yeah,
problem.
exactly. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah, so this has been great, Benji. I guess I'm curious, I always like to leave someone with something actionable, useful. Is there anything you specifically, a tool, tip, a resource, or in general, a pivot idea is if you think there's something that you see people doing a ton of, they should do less of, or maybe that's being oversaturated right now and they should stop?
I'll just say the
above.
more I think more people need to talk to customers. So again, I said the biggest emphasis in our own agency is the customer research. I would say in-house people, go talk to your customers, do surveys, get on the phone with those people, just like become very, very curious about everything they do. And I think that's what leads to all the interesting insights, the new ideas for blog posts and that kind of stuff. If you're sitting siloed by yourself trying to come up with this thing, all these ideas, or if you're hearing things through third parties who are not actually the customer, everything gets skewed and it's not really what they care about and it's not really their pain points and questions. And so I think every single marketer would just find so much more value just going to talk to people. And yeah, you'd be amazed by what you can learn. And I think that even for our own agency, I think that's been the key, is just answering every email that comes in, every question that comes in on Twitter. I'm very active there, and just, yeah, always looking at what people are saying and spotting those trends. I think that's what's really important.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I realize with our own sales process, a lot of our videos come from some random things people tell me on the phone.
Yep.
It's like this, and that I might not agree with or want to answer in some way. And then, yeah, a lot of those posts tend to resonate because it's a problem that a lot of people have. So, yeah, I really appreciate it, Benji. People at home, definitely suggest checking out Benji's stuff. Great content marketer and Grow and Convert as well. If you like this, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and let us know what you thought in the comments. Thanks for watching.
Cool. Oh,
Nice.
it's so warm up here.
Yeah, it is kind of warm.